Well, it turns out I have a little bit of time, so I might actually do this in a different order, and that is Kohler time. So let me show you guys something here. Now this is already unboxed, and my apologies. Whoops, I threw out that box. But anyway, so what we got here is we have a series of 4 Kohlers. Now there's be 4 videos to show you guys what comes in them and how to install them both AMD and Intel. But first, what we have up first here is, drum roll, the MA410P. 410P, I believe is what it is. So this is a $40 CPU Kohler. It's supposedly based off the Hyper 212 with a more fancier fan. This is an air pressure fan. I'm actually thinking about replacing, which, yeah, I only have 2 of these, so I have to wait to do it, but I'm gonna do the video first, and I might end up replacing my fans with these probably, but let me show you guys what comes in the box, how to install them on both platforms, and stay tuned to the next video. So you're not going to have the unboxing pleasure, but essentially this is what you can expect. You have a RGB fan here. It is an air balance fan. It has a 4-pin PWM, and it also has an RGB. This can go into the header. Would definitely recommend getting Kohler Master's RGB splitter if you have a bunch of RGB fans. You do not get a second fan, but you do get mounting for a second fan. So you'll get 2 more of these guys. You'll get these anti-vibration piece to put on and a set of 4 screws, so you will get that. And then you're going to get a lot of other stuff. So this backplate's used for Intel and AMD. Just note, okay, so it says on the bottom side AMD. So if you're mounting AMD, it has to say AMD on the bottom of the backplate, so it goes up like this. If you're mounting Intel, it'll simply go the other way. Intel is written across the bottom here, and it'll go like that. And then you have all the mounting hardware involved. There's a lot in here. I don't really want to show you guys everything necessarily, because you'll kind of see as we move forward. So that's the unboxing experience. Let's go ahead, let's do Intel first, since I have the board right here. So, fully transparent. I'm not using thermal paste for these installations. Just make sure you always put at least a pea size in the middle or the rice grain. So, a couple things to know. We're doing Intel first. So see how it says AMD on the bottom? See if I can show you that. That would imply that it would be like that. But since we need to flip it to the other side, it needs to face up this way. And it's actually very straightforward. There's actually these grooves here, and they go in like that. Oh, that's the AMD one. And we simply slide down all the way. So we're gonna do that 4 times. I'm just gonna do it in a cross pattern here for you guys. There we go. Now this supports pretty much everything. I'm not going to show you guys LGA like 2066 or whatever, or 2011 version 3. Yeah, we're not going through all that there. So another one here. Just like that. There we go there. And then the last one. Make sure it slides all the way down just like that. There you go. So that's how the backplate looks. And how this works is there's 4 holes here. They simply just line up with these here. And what's nice is if you have a solid hard surface to put it on, it'll push these through. And what we have to do is you have to grab these round cylinders. There's 4 of them. And they're simply going to screw on the top of these. So don't screw them all the way down yet. That'll be pretty much the next step. So you want to hand tighten them, you know, pretty much to the board. And again, you know, always recommend doing these in a cross pattern. Now, in a case like this one, it looks like we messed up the top piece here. We're going to make sure that's hanging up because that really won't affect the suction whenever we go to actually put the Kohler on. The next step is they give you this really big piece that goes over these, and this is going to be where you're going to want to screw this all the way down. pretty much till it gets tight. Definitely don't try to over tighten it. And now we can go ahead and get the cooler mounted. Now what you'll see right now is I have essentially the piece that we're going to be twisting down here on here. The reason why is you want to figure out what the position is, because we also want to try to implement the cooler like this. Now a couple things to note. There's actually 3 positions. There is up, there's side, and then there's kind of down in. AMD, I believe is positioned all the way up. So we'll have to change that whenever we go to do the board. So at this point, you will put your thermal paste right here. A piece size would be sufficient. Let's actually line this up one more time so we know how we're doing it. Just like that is fine, cool. So then, since it's going like this, we're gonna wanna collapse it this way. That way we can feed it through the cooler carefully. Well, you don't want to collapse all the way because you want to be able to get this through. And then we will open this up 1 notch. And then we will line the cooler up. It looks like everybody should be lined up there, so we should be good there. Let's zoom out so you guys can see what we're doing. So it's important just to start them. Be very careful with that. You just want to start them, but you're going to have to use a fair bit of pressure. And then once you kind of get them all started, we're going to go ahead and continue turning these. Till they're all the way down. And we're pretty much there. I don't want to over tighten them, but there's actually a hard stop. Just like that one. Okay. I'm pretty much all the way there. There's no reason to go all the way down. And then you have the fan. So we want to see how the fan is going to run here. So if we put it on like this, it's not going to work. So what we're going to want to do, and I'll move this back or move this up a little bit. We're going to have to put it on this way. Now sometimes if you have really tall RAM, you may have to remove the RAM whenever you got to do this and then simply reinstall whenever it's done. And then that should go in there. And then you'll simply plug this in, most likely looping it into the CPU header. And then in this case, do we actually have an RGB? I want to say maybe. I don't know if this supports RGB. It probably does not, which really kind of stinks for this particular board, but so be it. So that is pretty much it. Let's go ahead and see how AMD works. With AMD, it's easy. You'll actually see the AMD again on the bottom. And then you'll notice on the top, there's actually 2 spots to put it in. AM4 is the outer, AM3 is on the inner side. So we'll simply put this in. Just like that, we will take the AMD bracket piece, and simply slide it over like that. So we're gonna do that obviously 3 more times. So I have the piece slotted in there. And then, come on. There we go. I'm not sure how many times these are good to take off and put on, so I'll just have to be careful or remembering that. This is probably the 4th time this cooler has been mounted. 1 more, or 2 more here, so that one's in. And last one. Just like that. And then you'll simply, next stage is you're gonna have to remove the stock mounting. I'm actually gonna turn so you guys can see. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this. Never understood why some coolers remove the stock mounting, some don't. My Master Liquid 240 does not. It uses stock mounting, as does the 120. So I guess it's just preference maybe. I guess with tower coolers you also have to be careful. You're more interested with the weight, not necessarily with, I mean, you're interested with the mounting too, but the weight's definitely probably a pretty big hindrance here. So we'll find out how the other 3 air coolers handle this. So we'll remove that, and we'll simply slide the new back plate under, just like that. Now, just like before, we're gonna go ahead and get these cylinder guys down here. And hand tight's good just to start them, and we'll make sure they're fully tightened here shortly. Just gotta make sure that the worn edge goes up top, because apparently I've already have a worn edge. So we are good there. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab this guy again and get this mounted all the way down. If you don't, you